if he quit, why don't you let him quit then?
I keep saying quit. Go ahead. He stops. He keeps calling me, and he goes, all right. So he can't quit, Howard. That's the problem. He can't.
Great.
But that was something that you said you didn't want to do, that you could have done already 5 days from before.
But I could have done it.
But this was Friday, Matt. This was Friday.
Celebrity assistants earn an average of $60,000 a year. $60,000 to be on call 24/7, wait on their boss's hand and foot, and often be berated and criticized. And that's just the easy part. I am counting down the top 10 celebrities exposed by their former assistants, part 5, here for you on IO. Dun dun dun. What is gravy? You're watching InformOverload, your one-stop shop for spicy trending news updates, tea-spilling top 10s, and cringy dad jokes. I'm Charlotte Dobre, resident talker and very serious journalist. Subscribe so we get to hang out every day, and follow the IO team on social media so we can connect outside of YouTube. And if you see any stories that you think would be great for IO, send us a DM, and if we choose your story, we might just shout you out on our channel. Not might, but we will. We'll shout you out. It'll be cool. You can show your mom, be like, oh my god, Mom. Alright, so I wanted to wait until I had a few more to add to this list before I did another part to this series. Number 1 definitely inspired this list. Bear in mind that many of the ex-personal assistants on this list could be motivated to expose their bosses. Maybe they want a book deal or they want time in the spotlight, so keep that in the back of your head. Now let's get to the table. And at number 10 we have Lena Dunham. Imagine being so busy you don't have time to feed yourself. Is that even possible? Apparently it is, according to Lena Dunham. Imagine being so busy that you don't even have time to feed yourself. Is that possible? Apparently it is when it comes to Lena Dunham. According to this photo from the Daily Mail, Lena Dunham's personal assistant has to feed her sometimes. Now granted, on the set of Girls, Lena Dunham was the creator, writer, director, producer, and she was the star of the show. That is a lot of hats to wear, but apparently too many hats. Too many hats that prevent her from putting her quesadilla in her mouth herself. Just like you got lots of things in your hands and you're just like, feed me! And number 9, Artie Lange. This stand-up comedian quit the Howard Stern show over a meltdown and physical altercation involving his assistant, Teddy. How the hell could you just... his name is Teddy, for Christ's sakes. Teddy was responsible for booking Artie's comedy gigs. He actually had a lot of responsibilities for an assistant. And because he was Artie's assistant, and because Artie is, let's face it, a bit of a loudmouth asshole, he was often the butt of Artie's jokes. In 2008, Howard Stern brought Teddy into the studio to resolve a conflict on air. Well, Artie let it all out on the air and at one point even accused Teddy of stealing money from him. At the climax of the argument, Artie threw a glass of water, jumped over the studio console, and jolted toward Teddy, and 5 or 6 studio staffers had to restrain him. Not sure if you guys have seen Artie, but he's not a small man. I would not want that coming towards me. Not in that way, but like I would not want that man coming towards me about to beat me up. That'd be scary. In at number 8, Paris Hilton. We all know that Kim Kardashian used to be Paris Hilton's PA before she became more famous than Paris herself. Even though the two are reportedly still friends, there were many times when Paris would boss Kim around and shade her on TV shows and even in interviews. Since then, Paris has a new assistant, and according to photos, Paris Hilton doesn't really do a lot of the heavy lifting. And what I mean by that is she doesn't carry anything except her handbag, her phone, and her tiny dog, and she makes her assistant carry everything else. These photos show Paris Hilton arriving to a photo shoot in Hollywood, and her assistant behind her is carrying all the Halloween costumes for the shoot, looking quite unimpressed and tired. At number 7, getting into the juicy stuff now, we got David Hasselhoff. If you don't know who David Hasselhoff is, just ask your mom. Actually, maybe ask your grandma. The Hoff used to be a heartthrob, and he was best known for his roles on The Young and the Restless and Baywatch. He once set a Guinness Book of World Record as the most watched man on TV. It certainly isn't a record that he still holds, but that little recap was just so all the Gen Zers watching had a bit of context. This guy was a big deal. He was a big deal. He was a good looking guy. He was what you would call a tall glass of water. But even though David is 67 years old now, he still considers himself a ladies' man. Only he doesn't actually want to do the work of asking ladies out himself. That risks getting rejected. Instead, he makes his assistant go with him to LA nightclubs to hand out his business card to women he finds attractive. Imagine that being your job. Oh, that one. Go! And then David Hasselhoff's just got like a martini at the end of the bar. He's like, the girl's like, but he's old. Too old, but it's David Hasselhoff. Like, I mean. At number 6, we have Katherine Heigl. Katherine doesn't have the best reputation in Hollywood. She's been branded one of Hollywood's most difficult divas. She's been criticized openly for quite a few demands, being unprofessional and flaking on big meetings. She reportedly requested to be flown by private plane to and from the locations of the film 5 Killers. But according to a background actor on the set of 27 Dresses, Katherine refused to film any scenes until she had a Coke Zero, and she made her pregnant assistant run around and look for one for her. She also refused to speak to anyone on set and ate lunch alone when the cameras stopped rolling. The inside source said that she also had a bad reputation on set, and many directors she's worked with in the past refused to work with her again. Halfway there, at number 5, we have Mr. Mike Myers. Rumor has it that this funny man is not so funny in person, especially when it comes to staff, especially staff that is not his own. During a taping of Late Night with Conan O'Brien, Mike Myers reportedly bossed around production assistants and told them to get him raspberry seltzer, Twizzlers, and non-dairy creamer. I love me some Twizzlers, but the day I send a production assistant running around Manhattan looking for Twizzlers for me is the day I never book another acting job again. Not sure if you guys have ever been on a set before, but production assistants are busy as it is. The gall, Mike Myers. At number 4, Lindsay Lohan. Lindsay Lohan's DUI is pretty much infamous by now. I mean that mugshot though. Only Lindsay Lohan would pose like a movie star in her DUI mugshot. She's like, I know the whole world's gonna see this. I am touching up my makeup. Okay, so Lindsay Lohan's DUI is pretty infamous now, but have you heard the story about what happened the night of Lindsay's DUI? Earlier in the night, Lindsay's second personal assistant, Taryn, had quit her job. Lindsay had gotten into a public fight with Jessica Biel because Jessica supposedly stole Lindsay's other assistant, Lindsay Ratowski. So Lindsay Lohan yelled at Jessica Biel at a party for GQ magazine. After the party, Taryn quit her job as well, and she called her mom to pick her up. When Taryn's mom arrived, Lindsay Lohan, who was under the influence, chased them in her car. Taryn's mother was the one who called the police on Lindsay because she was chasing them, and Lindsay was caught soon after and thrown into rehab. At number 3 on our list, we have Sharon Stone. Sharon Stone has been sued by former employees quite a few times in the past. Her former assistant nanny, Erlinda Ellman, worked for Sharon between 2008 and 2011 until she was fired. Sharon Stone was later sued by Erlinda Ellman, who alleged in the lawsuit against her that Sharon Stone made derogatory comments about her Filipino accent and heritage. Sharon also reportedly told her children not to talk to Ellman because she didn't want them to grow up with a Filipino accent. The lawsuit also stated that Stone was verbally dismissible of Ellman's religious beliefs. She criticized her for attending church and even forbade her from reading the Bible in her room. Damn, she sounds like a wicked old stepmother. At number 2, we got Ricki Lake. When Ricki Lake's assistant applied for her job, I wonder if they read anywhere in the job description about having to clean up after a water birth. Yes, a water birth. If you don't know what a water birth is, it's where you give birth in a bathtub or a miniature pool. Why would anyone want to give birth in a bathtub? Well, some people think that water births are more relaxed and less painful experiences. Others believe they really aren't safe. I mean, you risk infection and you're also risking your newborn baby drowning, but that's besides the point. The point is, Ricki Lake made her former assistant be present for the birth of her son, and then she made her clean up the afterbirth. Lake admitted to this whole thing in a documentary she made about home births called The Business of Being Born. And at number 1 on our list, no surprise here, Amber Heard. Amber Heard is the most recent addition to this list because her former assistant Kate James exposed her in a legal deposition that was part of Johnny Depp's defamation lawsuit against her. According to Kate James, who was Amber Heard's assistant between 2012 and 2015, Amber would routinely verbally and mentally abuse her, often during her MDMA, mushroom, and wine binges. Kate claims she would wake up to abusive texts from Amber that were sent in the wee hours of the morning while she was intoxicated. James also described her time working for Amber as a quote nightmare she has yet to recover from. So if you guys want more info on that little bit of tea there, I did a whole video on that. If you want to check that out, it's clickable at the top of the screen right now. But that is a wrap on part 5 of this series. Why don't we finish this one up with some comment features. MBR said, now I just want to see Charlotte's photography portfolio. It was pretty good. Like, I'm totally like tooting my own horn, but I'm a pretty good photographer. It's just not like what I'm focusing on right now. One of my photos was published in the New York Times back in the day. This one, it's pretty good. It's a really good play too. It's called The Other Mozart. If you're in New York, check it out. Alyssa said, I like you even more knowing you are a fellow Italian. Cazzo fai, huh? Mystically Blown 420 said, when you're depressed and sad and Charlotte has to make you laugh. Thanks for being goofy, Potato Queen. You're welcome. Alright, that's it for me. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you leave a thumbs up, subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.